Welcome to our international podcast, Below the Belt. Who vex lose, people? Who vex lose? We trust that you guys out there are great, and let us know if you folks are receiving us loud and clear. We hope so. We hope that you guys are receiving us loud and clear wherever you folks are joining us from around the world, people. It is our privilege to be here with you, Siobhan McDonald. We're so happy that you're here with us. And we also see we have with us, who is it we have with us here? Guys, drop a comment. We see who you be, who you be, who you be. And we give you guys a shout out. Where is Miss Selby? Beatrice Selby. Beatrice, how you doing? Good to have you aboard. And all the other folks joining us from around the world, folks, welcome to our international podcast, Below the Belt. We're broadcasting from the national capital city of Georgetown here in good old BG, good old Guyana. And we're so happy to be with you tomorrow, guys. Tomorrow, it's arrival day. And all of us came from somewhere. We arrived from someone, some boat, right? Some boat we come, some boat, some canoe we touched down on. Good to have each and every one of you here. I'm happy some of you arrived. God knows we've been better for it. Some others not so much, not so much. Onika Light, good to see you. Good to see you. I'm happy. I'm happy Onika Light arrived and Siobhan McDonald arrived. Guys, drop a comment. We see who you are. I'm happy you guys arrived. Tomorrow is arrival day, folks. And I'm just saying, I hope that Irfan is fact checking. Whatever speech is gonna make, you don't need to say anything. We good. We good out here. You don't need to say anything. But if you're gonna say something, let it be factual. They got a book, you know. One of the things you can refer to themes in uh, African Guyanese history. That's a good book you can refer to. Themes in African Guyanese history. That's a good one. Just saying. And there was a book I was trying to remember this morning on FYI with Jarita, and it's like right there watching me all the time. But sometimes there's a theory in communication when you do communication studies. You see what you want to see, hear what you want to hear. Let me grab that book quick. Yeah, yep, yep. You know, and folks, you gotta love reading, and that is why the other day I had to make two quick trips to the bookstore, and Austin's bookstore is always my favorite place to go. And I haven't been able to really and truly carve out a good portion of time because the mornings are so busy. And even after lunch, when we finish the podcast, we jump right into getting set for the evening program. And I had to run down there very quickly and grab a couple of items. And I love to spend some time in the bookstore, spend some time. And I wish if Mr. Austin ever thinks about expanding, he puts a little cafe somewhere there as well, and maybe some little stools in the aisle. You can sit sometimes, and because some of those shelves, as you get older, you can't keep bending down all the time like that. Yeah, we big, we big, and you can spend some. I love to spend some time in the bookstore, much like the library. And so Julie and I were talking this morning about this particular book. I was telling her, I think it's a good read. And as soon as I saw it in the shelf, it became available. I was hunting it down. I saw it somewhere, and then I saw it on the bookshelf, and I started hunting it. This is by a fantastic historian. So Irfan, you got your choices. You got themes in African Guyanese histories. Is that the name of it? Let me get it right. Make sure I get it right. And I know Mr. Granger, Excellency, former President David Granger, has contributed to that, as well as the great historian Alvin Thompson. All Guyanese, all Guyanese. Make sure I get the title right. Let me make sure I get that title right. All right. Got to get the title right. You want to give credible, valid information. All right. Yep. Themes in African Guyanese history. I was right. Themes in African Guyanese history. And um, quite a few editors on this one. You had Dr. Winston McGowan, of course, James Rose, and David Granger. Those were the editors. That's a beautiful book. You have a chance to really sink in the Guyanese history. It's one thing to think you know, but to know from the people who make it a study, right? And then um, they are read and I don't want to say judge by the contemporaries in the field as well. And if other historians know that this thing is wrong, I think they can keep quiet. So this is a fantastic book. Themes in African Guyanese history. Fantastic, fantastic book you can get. But the one I was referring to, which written in the program this morning, because in so many instances it talks about the people who came, us, the people who came this side of the world. It's a survey in Guyanese history by Dr. Winston McGowan, who was a contributor and editor on this other one, Themes in African Guyanese History. And folks, we got to understand from whence we came. And I have the book in my hand here, and I'm looking at some of the chapters. I found this a superb read, and I go back to it every now and again. And I love to make my highlights in my book and make notes as well. As big as I am, we big people, we big. So here are a couple of the chapters: a historical exploration, a survey of Guyanese history. Guyana 200 years ago, Guyana 100 years ago. In that you can find some things about the Portuguese, the our indigenous brothers and sisters, African Guyanese. You know, here is another chapter. Let me read a couple of chapters. Chapter 5, the coming of Africans to Guyana. Chapter 6, the resistance of captive Africans to the Atlantic slave trade. I found this fascinating. I didn't know that Africans resisted in these many ways. I found that a fascinating chapter. Slave rebellions at sea, some features of the slavery system in Guyana, the origins of the 1763 Berbice slave rebellion. And, in terms of historians, Dr. Winston McGowan is the apex locally in terms of Guyanese history. And I found this a fascinating read, and I'm going to go over it a couple of times. That's one of the books you want to read, 4 or 5 times. A Survey of Guyanese History. Fascinating book. And I hope that you guys are challenging yourself. Social media is important, yes, but there is value. Yeah, I love the physical book in my hands. And I picked this up at Austin's bookstore. Yep, I'm watching the stamp in it about a year or two ago. And it's been a constant companion. Um, and we have to, Dr. Stephen Covey says that investment in self is the best investment. Invest in you. Tomorrow's a holiday, arrival day. That's why we've been having this conversation thus far, and reflecting on how far we've come, who we are as a people. Who are we? I said mix up. Got a little Chinese in me, some uh, indigenous blood, some Amerindian blood in my sister, some African blood. Mix up. And so we're wishing all of you happy arrival day. I'm happy some of you came. Some others not so much. I'm so happy some of you came. And this book, a survey, I recommend this to anybody. A survey of Guyanese history. A collection of historical essays and articles by a Guyanese scholar, Dr. Winston McGowan. Fascinating book. Yeah. Another book I'd highly recommend, history, is Dr. Eric Williams' Capitalism and Slavery. Fantastic work. Read it a couple times. Fantastic work. You got to challenge yourselves. You know, if the more politically inclined you are, as an activist, as a lobbyist, whatever you fashion yourself, the more reading you need to have, more content to bring things into perspective, connect the dots. And I just want to salute all of the fascinating historians we've had. Mr. Granger, Alvin Thompson, Professor um, Maniz, we have a whole long list. a very contemporary historian, Dr. Melissa Eiffel, very, very contemporary in her outlook and the way she presents history. You know, some people can make history very dull and drab. Not these artists I tell you about it. And where you want real contemporary historian who can give you that modern context and that historical perspective, Dr. Melissa Eiffel, superb in that regard. And I'm happy that some of you, you know, and these books are available online too if you're in the diaspora. You know, there's Amazon. I still do a lot of buying of books through Amazon through my Kindle app. And we got to challenge ourselves. We got to challenge ourselves. I think you're a better human being if you have an appreciation for great music, for good books, for travel. You're more rounded, more rounded individual, and that's my challenge to you all this April. You know, that's my challenge to each and every one. Read some more and read out of your comfort zone too. Right? And talking about Archie Boys and Mills and Booms. That's interesting too. But read out of your comfort zone. I've been going through an economic text for the last couple weeks, if not months. You know, by a fantastic American author, and challenging myself. No, economics is not my forte per se, but yet all of us are affected by economic circumstances, one way or the other. Right? Me want them by do all the thinking for me. So I gotta challenge myself to understand the concepts, the prevailing concepts that affects the price of cheese in the market. And one of the looking at consuming American television and American media on the whole. One of the persons I came into contact with and who I'm reading now, fascinating economist, top of his game in the US, right? This is Paul Krugman, and he writes for the New York Times. And currently I'm reading Arguing with Zombies. That's the name of the text I'm reading currently. Arguing with Zombies, Economics, Politics. I'm trying to get the full title from my Kindle app. Economics, Politics, and the Fight for a Better Future. Arguing with Zombies, Economics, Politics, and the Fight for a Better Future. That's the book I'm reading currently by Paul Krugman. Fantastic economist and I would say an economics historian. And I think, much like Dr. Melissa Eiffel, very contemporary the way in which they present that historical analysis. In his case of the U.S. economy going back, decades, if not centuries, in a very contemporary context, which makes for easy reading. So challenge yourself this March, especially. We got off down this road because we started talking about Arrival Day. Challenge yourself this May. Challenge yourself. Stretch yourselves. Erwin Don Cook and Mark Allman and Andrew Cuthbert. Stretch yourselves. All right? Come out your comfort zone, Wilson Henry, and you know, travel and engage. Good content, good books, good films, good music, good food. Happy Arrival Day, folks. I'm happy. I'm happy. Again, I say I'm happy that all of us came from somewhere. All of us came, right? All of us came from somewhere. You know, I think a couple of them should have left. Ah, we got a left couple, but they're here with us nonetheless. They're here with us nonetheless, and it is what it is. Folks, today we're going to be talking about press freedom and the PPP's track record with press freedom. It's looking thin. Deborah Leach is looking thin. It's looking thin. I can tell you that. I ain't want to pretend. It's looking thin, but that's what happened when dealing with the trench crappers, the jacobas, the tadpoles, the cricketers, the Karen crows, the jumpy birds. That's what happened when you're dealing with them. That's what happened. That's the challenge we got, the challenge of our lifetimes. But I'm heartened that you guys are here. You guys are here. That's the important thing. That's the important thing. Andrew Cusbort, we see you. Gloria, Chester, Gloria, how you doing? So glad you're here, Gloria. What are you guys reading, if anything? What is occupying your attention beside the podcast? Beside the podcast, folks, share the live stream, smosh the emoji button, and as well, you consider partnering with us. It'll take us a long way. Gordon, Anna Gordon, Marilyn Thomas, Paula Hughes. Good to see you, Paula. Good day to you as well. Shirley Crichton. Yep, yep, yep. Shirley says, "Oh Lord, press freedom." You're gonna select the nurses. The nurses in that really small issue with a big speech. You know, them girls said, them girls. A lot of things happening, folks. A lot of things happening. Quite a few things are happening, and we beg your indulgence. Of which we're talking about press freedom because that's the times we're living in. We're celebrating press freedom. And I'm telling you, them boys' record, if there's anything to go by, 10. 10. Right? It's 10 and it shows. I don't want to pretend it's otherwise. Right? The record 10 and it shows. Right? But a lot of rainfall. For those of you who are joining us, I want to give you a sense of the weather. A lot of rainfalls. They're telling us we can get some light rains, but I don't know about that. It's 27 degrees outside. And currently, it's a 22% chance of rain. It picks up into the afternoon, folks, moving up to 57% chance it's going to rain this evening. And then a 62% chance overnight. It's 27 degrees outside. It says, weather.com, that is, says it feels like 33. Perhaps it does. Perhaps it does. Today, I agree with them. All right? So it's rain and heat, the rain warring. I got some clothes outside about uh, trying to get the sun about 2 days now. I'm watching them and I'll pick them up and what's called them? Scrooks them again. Scrooks. I make another go of it, right? Make another go of it. Rain and giving the sun a chance, people. So it's 27 degrees outside, folks, with a 22% chance it's going to rain. You got to watch that. You got to watch that. It's a low percentage chance of rain, but it's enough. Walk with your umbrella, just in case. 27 degrees outside, but it feels like 33. That's according to weather.com. And overnight, folks, overnight, rain is expected Thursday, tomorrow. Arrival day is 76% chance it's going to rain tomorrow. 76%. Folks, tomorrow is going to rain. And then Friday, even more rain is expected. There's a 91% chance it's going to rain Friday. It increases on Saturday into Sunday. Right? So a full week of rain. A full week of rain. Act accordingly, folks. Act accordingly. Lots of rain ahead of us. Hope the weather is faring better at your end. I do hope that the weather is faring much better where you guys are. Paul and Hawk Kippins, good to see you. Courtney October, good afternoon to you as well. And Glycis Mingo Born, good to see you as well. Hundreds of folks watching us. Uh, do us the favor of sharing the live program, sharing the podcast. As well, you guys can smash that emoji button for us. Let us know how you guys are feeling. You're cold, you're hot. What's happening out there? You're happy. What's going down? Smash that emoji button and give us a sense. At the back end, I can see over 400 persons joining our podcast. And we're so humbled by that. We're so grateful for all of you, for your presence. We are so grateful for that. Quite a few things happening in the news that we're going to be talking about, and especially as it relates to our subject matter for today. Press freedom and the PPP's track record on that. And I'm going to see if you have something in relation to this you wish to share with us. You can drop us a voice note, but please try as best. Let it be under 2 minutes. One voice note, so make up your mind what you're going to say, and then say it. Please and thank you. But good to have you guys here. Really good to have you guys here. And we're following a lot of things on a lot of fronts. And I hardly know which direction to start. But I guess at the beginning is a good place as any. Rhonda Spencer Thom. Good to see you, Rhonda. Right? Shirley Crichton says press freedom is like agile. Sit down. And stop being disruptive, no? That's what them boys say. Press freedom, sit down and stop being disruptive. Sit down and stop being disruptive. That's what press freedom mean. Thanks for that. Right. Thanks for that. You Lally Cock, how are you doing? You ain't safe a little bit. I ain't safe a little bit. Whatever you owe us, we forgive you. Go and say no more. Folks, you're just kidding. Ali Cock, you Ali Cock, I know we one thing. But we're so grateful that Ali Cock is here. So grateful. Carla Ronalds, we see you as well. Yep, yep. We really enjoy our time with you folks. Sharon Grant. Rock and come in. Sharon, rock and come in. Right? Good to have you folks. Good to have you folks. Karen McPherson, we see you there. Good to see you, Karen. All the C's are out today. Well, there's Diane. That's Diane Fordyce. Mark Allman, good to see you folks. And we're happy. So, guys, we are in the process of celebrating press freedom. It's an important part. It's an important part of national life. The press helping to hold government accountable in the political context, right? Helping to hold the government accountable. It's a noble task, I tell you that. It's a very noble task. And some of the headlines we're seeing coming out of this period, I don't like photo ops. And some of these headlines is because people got something to say, or they need to say something, and then they go back to treating people anyhow. It's like some of those labor unions over May Day, over Labor Day. Right? They come out and say, oh, government must be doing X and Y. And then for next year, they're going back into hibernation under the rock they've been under. But Labor Day, they come out and they make a big fuss. Right? A big fuss. But I sure. Them boys know that's not no pit bull. That's a chihuahua. Right? Pit bull is pit bull any day of the year. Any day of the year. But they go quiet. Go back into hibernation. Right? Getting the big fat money from their union members. Big fat money. And all is right with them. Right? Once you don't actually have to give any representation. All is right. So here is Ali in this morning's. Ali in this. 1 second, folks. Yeah. Just making sure I have the things I need to have lined up. Yeah. On today's Chronicle front page. The Chronicle. You know them. State papers, man. The Chronicle. Chronicle. Here's Ali saying, I believe in the full freedom of the press, but like it's only he. Like it's only he believe in it. The full freedom of the press. That is what Mr. Ollie would have us believe. Like it's only you, right? And to an extent, because how he handled Svetlana Marshall, for instance, on that Isabel Young issue, I think really and truly leaves much to be desired. The way he went after her, you would think Svetlana Marshall was the one who was asking the tough questions to the vice president, and tough questions must be asked. Tough questions must be asked. That's what I want to say. That's the role of journalists. Any journalist worth their salt. That's why you we get sometimes contortions when you see some of these journalists interviewing the administration. Right? It's like the administration interviewing the journalists. Because you got some long monologues, no interjection. I know part of the reason for that is that a lot of the journalists, lots of these journalists, don't often do the homework before they come to these interviews. So here's Ali again saying that I believe in the full freedom of the press. Full freedom of the press. It's interesting sometimes before, these ministers and cabinet members and so forth answer a question they ask, which media house you from? See? hmm Which media house you from? Oh, you from credible sources? They don't like we. Right? They don't like we. Father of mercy. Father have his mercies. So Ali is saying he believes in full freedom of the press. That's interesting. That's interesting. And I'll circle back to that. But I just want to give you a sense of some of what is making the wrongs in this context of press freedom. I see in today's Starbucks News, right? Let's start with that. Or yesterday's Starbucks News, rather. On the front page, it says here, press focus on accountability has never been more important to Guyana. And this was a joint statement by the Western envoys, you know, the High Commissioner, the Canadian High Commissioner, the US Ambassador, the British High Commissioner. Right? Those are the Western envoys. And that's how they marked World Press Freedom Day, saying that the press focus on accountability has never been more important in Guyana. Why is that so? Right? What do you extrapolate from that? What do you extrapolate from that? It has never been more important. You know why? Huh? Because them boys don't want to be held accountable. Them boys are transparent. Right? And good governance to them is just a word. It's just a phrase. Good governance. So the Western envoys, this is Miss Miller, right? This is Miss Lynch, and then you got Pons Canto. You got the EU. We got Jane, Sarah, and Canto. Again, saying in Starbucks News and reported elsewhere as well. Press focus and accountability has never been more important. Never been more important. Well, the thoughts and actions differ sometimes. Differ sometimes. On today's Starbucks News, for instance, we see it says here that um, another take on Ali's presentation says government has no intention of spying on journalists. Hey, you think I believe that? Government has no intention of spying on journalists. He said it wouldn't spy on citizens. Right? He said it wouldn't spy on citizens. You believe if the PPP got a chance, right, to listen to, Rashford conversations, they won't listen. to listening to Paul Hawk Kippin's conversations. They weren't listening. Karen Clark and Desiree Hollingsworth and all the other folks joining us. Carol Jonas, Philomena Fontenelle. You think they weren't listening? So that's another headline. Government has no intentions of spying on journalists. Mm-hmm. Interesting. No intentions. That's what it says. And then I see another headline here. Anna Gordon and Siobhan McDonald, Kevin Chisholm, Carol Jonas, and Desiree Hollingsworth. Yet another headline here. Right? Another headline here says that government launches Media and Communications Academy. Government launches Media and Communication Academy. Mm-hmm. We got to send the whole DPI and so on. Because you got some folks here who are formally trained. Government launches Media and Communications Academy. Huh? This looks a little similar to me than what was it called? The uh, training school of the public service. Look like a pattern was set. Vanessa the said red flag. Right. Red flag. Candida Lean in the Jeet. Good afternoon to you. Vanessa put on a red flag. Gladstone Matthews. Media and Communications Agency. That has been launched. So that's one of the things, guys, we're following. One of the things we're following. And picking up back on that bit with the diplomats. In Kaichor News's publication on that issue, it says here, and this was yesterday, of course, on the occasion of World Press Freedom Day, heads of missions for the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, and the European Union have underscored. What have they underscored? Right? They have underscored inter alia the role of media as the country moves onto a trajectory of rapid development. Again, this is the Canadian High Commissioner, Mark Berman, Sarah Lynch, right? British High Commissioner, Jane Miller, and Fernando Ponscanto. Yep. You got to watch them. I think that's what they're saying, really and truly. I think that's what the mission says. You got to watch the Jacobats, the trench crappos. You got to watch them. The Karen Crows, the Scarecrows, and the Johnny Bush. You got to watch them. I think that's what they say. You got to watch them. And again, those were just a couple of the headlines that we pulled out. And there's about at least one that I wish to bring to your attention. When you talk about press freedoms, and then we can talk about some other issues within the context of press freedom. Yep. And again, this was yesterday's Starbucks News. All right. We're Starbucks News. Sorry, this is yesterday's Monday's Kaichur News. Monday's Kaichur News, in which that media entity was saying that media workers slam was based on an interview they had with media workers. Media workers slam lack of transparency in the oil and gas sector. Media workers slam lack of transparency in the oil and gas sector. I'd love to hear Ali on this one. I'd love to hear Ali on this one, folks. Love to hear him on this one, Mister. I believe in the full freedom of the press. Hmm? Mister, I believe in the full freedom of the press. I'd love to hear him where the media workers are saying there's a lack of transparency in the oil and gas sector. That's what I want to hear him on. Right. So, in the context of our discussion on press freedom, the PPP track record looking thin. Let me turn your attention to that. Right? I see Peggy Russell Elias saying that maybe the school is for critic. Oh, maybe the school is for the critics. He might be wrong. You know, we all need schooling. I had the privilege of doing communications at the undergraduate level at university. As that has always been an abiding interest of mine. You know, and look, I'm still out here. Right? Sure, my lecturers at UG saying, well, he ain't not too bad. You know, we had the doubts that he was going to be a black sheep or a black belly sheep. You know, we had the doubts, but he ain't shape up too bad in the larger scheme of things. So, folks, while these guys talk about, as Catfish saying here, I believe in the full freedom of the press. You know, the track record 10. That's why I want y'all know. 10. Charlene Juice at 10. It 10. It 10. Right? Because I remember when social media was less ubiquitous, hear the word. Let me elevate in 2022. Right? When it was less pervasive, like I buy a dictionary at Austin's, boy. You up your language in me, man. Come on. Let's do it together. Up our vocabulary in me. When social media was less ubiquitous and pervasive. Sound like a lecture now, boy. Right? We know what them boys used to do. I ain't want to pretend that is because Freddie Kissoon was speaking out consistently. You know, Freddie take a turn now. I think Freddie gone like Claudette. He swing. He swing. But back in the days when social media was less prevalent, I ain't want to pretend, right? Them boys then organize for somebody to throw fecal matter in Freddie face, to throw mess, miasma in Freddie face. I ain't want to pretend that didn't happen. All because them boys didn't like criticism yesterday and they still don't like it today. Right? But they know because of social media, they're gonna be held to account. So don't let me pretend that Freddie didn't have a lot of fecal matter, mess and miasma pitched in his face. All because you want to talk the things. You want to exercise your freedom of expression. Them boys didn't like that. It's the nature. That's why I want you to know. Warnella Garnett is the nature. Candy, Nelline and the G, Timo Williams, Sheridan Juice, Itendrid, Wilma Grant. It is in the nature. And you can try for kerfuffle me, bamboozle that I believe in the full freedom of the press when they start. Same man who always complaining about the critics and the naysayers, same fella. Mhm. I won't pretend. It's the nature. That's what I'm telling you. It's what inside. It's the nature. Right? It's the nature. And I don't want to pretend either, guys, that when that young activist, is it Charlena Negar, was activisting. there such a word? All right. Was doing the work of an activist at one of the PPP rallies, making her voice heard. I won't pretend that Barry Ramsaran, who was then Minister of Health, didn't promise to strip and slap. Some of them kinky like that. Wicked, stink, and dirty. Some of them kinky like that. He wants to strip and slap. Miss Nagar. So we can pretend that ain't happen. I know some of you don't forget her. Right? Some of you don't forget it. I didn't want to pretend that when Gordon Mosley was in the flower of his youth, the prime of his life, God like me, we big now. We big, I tell you, we big. Right? We ain't going out of style though. We big. But in the prime of his life, a journalist asking the tough question, I want to pretend them boys then declare Gordon persona non grata, huh? At press conferences. I want to pretend. All because the young, audacious Mosley was asking the tough questions. Now he's just audacious. He's just audacious. Huh? We big. We understand that. We accept that. We big. We ain't going out of styles. We big. I want to pretend that. I don't want to pretend that didn't happen. Him being excommunicated, declared persona non grata, unwelcomed, can't go about. I want to pretend we had a period. Same people giving us, platitudes. Same people. Right? And there was a man when he didn't like the reporting happening at Kaito News. I remember he was hard on tape saying who can get shoot up. Huh? He didn't like what Kaito News is saying, but and he wailing to the publisher. He said, "Yeah, I can do. Somebody can walk in and shoot y'all up. Shoot up." Yeah, remember that? This is the same people talking about press freedom today. Right? They want there to be freedom when they're not being pressed. Mm-hmm. Right? Press freedom? They're pressing the daylights out of the freedom. And y'all know what we're talking about. Right? Y'all know what we're saying. Right? I said, I want to pretend that didn't happen. Right? I want to pretend that didn't go down. You know what else I want to pretend? So I want to pretend this official didn't call Kaito News and say, yeah, I can push people and people can walk in there and shoot up and so on. I can't pretend I didn't hear that. And then, you remember them boys stopped the ads from going to Starbucks News? You remember that? Same Jacobats. Same trench crappos. Same Nakavakamites. Same Hittites. Same Jebusites. Karen crows, scarecrows, and jumpy birds. Same people. That's why I want to tell y'all. Same people. Same set. Same set. Right? When they didn't like what Starbucks News is printing, Them by stop the ads. This is the government ads. If I'm going to Starbucks News, when them boys didn't like what SN the printing. And then you remember when former president Janet Jagan, who every day Papa Jagabat should be thanking his lucky stars that woman handed him that presidency. Undeserving, unworthy. Right? Unworthy. That's like what All Father told Tor, you unworthy. I cast you out. That's what she should have done. Now we like an anchor around we neck. And she should have done what All Father did to Tor. Cast him out. Right? Cast him out. That's what she should have done. When she intervened, Janet Jackson, you remember what he told her? He said, go to pasture. You're a private citizen now. Go out to pasture, Janet. You're a private citizen now. I want to pretend that didn't happen. Should I pretend it didn't happen? You tell me if I should pretend, Penelope Watson. Yeah, he said, Janet, go out to pasture. Go back to the States. We got no time for you. I don't get what you want. That's what he's telling the people of this country. I don't get what you want. Why care if you are punishing Alnez, Anchorville, wherever it is? Right? The others private citizens. I want to pretend Starbucks News didn't happen when Janet Jackson tried to intervene and said, no, this is wrong. He said, what you know about wrong, right? I determine what's wrong, right? You was a private citizen now, former president. And Kemraj Ramjatan tells the story how that has been the last time, according to Kemraj, that Janet Jagan ever stepped foot in Freedom House. He said that is the last time. Right? Janet Jagan set foot in Freedom House. When he told her, she tried to intervene on this Starbucks News issue to get the papers getting the government ads again. Last time, that's how the story is told. So I won't pretend that didn't happen either. Right? We ain't want no false pretenders. I ain't gonna be no false pretender. Right? So there was that. That's another way of choking the media, You don't have the finances to continue, you fall. And that is why you guys out there are the wind beneath our wings. Right? I know you have not the wind beneath the wings of the Karen Crown, the jumbie board they put out there. Y'all is not the wind under that. That's what I know for sure. And that's what I'm thankful about. Y'all aren't the wind under that. I'm most thankful. Most thankful. Right? And finally, folks, I don't know if you all remember, in the not so distant past, I have to put it a little more elegantly if I can, right? This was an issue of recent vintage. This other issue I'm about to raise now was an issue of recent vintage. When I sat in as an undergraduate reading, I was in the extramural arm of the university in IDC, Institute of Distance and Continuing Education, and I was doing industrial law under Professor Aubrey Bishop, the late Professor Aubrey Bishop. He used to say you got to elevate the language. Elevate your language. This final event here of recent vintage wasn't 60 years ago. Even that could be deemed recent. It was even more recent vintage. You all remember when Jack Dio was president? Yeah. refer to journalists in this country, yeah, as carrion crows and vultures? Was that the 2005, 2006 election? Yeah. Yes. Them some people said they love the press now. Oh, Father, if you forget your history, oh, how we condemned to repeat it. Same people refer to journalists as carrion crows and vultures. Right? I remember just the other day, right? Jagdios assault and or attempted assault on Nazima Ragubir, right? And then they won't come wrong you funny now. Oh, we love the press. Eh? We love the press. Same way they love the indigenous people. With a historic verdict they can read yet to implement, you know. Oh, we love the journalists them. We love them that you could buy out. We love them that who and what they sought. Right? And we had an opportunity recently to see journalism in action. And I want you guys to know, you know, Isabel Young is a great journalist, is a fine journalist. But Isabella Young is not the exception. Isabella Young is what should be the rule. Right? You got to pursue the truth wherever it leads, without fail or favor, affection or ill will. That is the nature and quality of journalism. So what we saw demonstrated there in that Osu moment, right, is journalism 101. You have to bring something to an interview. If you just show up, these guys won't walk all over you. Right? If you just show up, these guys are gonna walk all over you. And that is what the Jagabat attempting to do in Region 5 the other day with Big Uncle. Yeah? But he didn't know Big Uncle prepared, and then he showed up. Oh, where you expect we to get this money from? Big Uncle, where you expect me to get this money from? And then Big Uncle had an ace in his pocket, his back pocket, like Isabella Young. He said, I hear there's a rule when you're out the money is go to the consolidated fund. Right? Big Uncle, they want to pretend he didn't know that. Oh, we out here, people. We out here. Big Uncle, they want to pretend he didn't know that. You see people and you make assumptions of them. You better stop it. And this arrival day, we see people on the other side of town, living on the other side of the community, and you don't want to clean the drains and so on. You make assumptions of them. You better stop it. You better stop it. Right? Could you understand where we are if the cure for cancer and Bigfoot and Gordy and Chick and so on in the African community, some we would never get it because you're closed, and vice versa. Right? If the person who can remedy hunger, world hunger, national hunger in the Indo-Guyanese community, the Indian community in this country, yeah, some we can stay and starve because we're close to receive people of other ethnicities, other ideas, other cultures. The great Eleanor Roosevelt said there isn't a culture from which we cannot learn. I believe that. There isn't a culture of people from which we cannot learn. If you're open to learn, right? If you are seeking opportunities to learn, to grow, you can do that. So those few things, how you want to pretend? While we talk about press freedom, so how we love the press, right? Right? Press freedom is not snacks after the press conference. because I'm reliably informed. A lot of people, a lot of folks shop for snacks, you know, things they want to know. But that being said, I want to salute our journalists as well because, I know some of the grueling hours the journalists keep. I know some of the grueling hours on assignment. You know, I know how it is. I was leaving a protest a couple of weeks back, and I saw two young journalists walking. I said, "How are y'all getting back to the office?" They said, "We have to get a bus." I said, "I can give y'all a lift. I can't do it every day, right? But when I can, you know, thing is that them journalists being picked up and dropped off and all that. You better foot it. You better foot it and work long hours, intense circumstances, right? You go to cover an event, you gotta wait hours sometimes. We perennially late in this country. We gotta change that too. We gotta change that. And we've had some good journalists. The other day I was thinking back, maybe we should do a program. Where are they now? You all know some of the great journalists that we've had. My mind was running on Michelle. Is it El Fayaj? Who was with we used to be GTV back in the days, right? Where is she now? Where is this other lovely young lady? She was, I think, with same NCN, well, GTV. Natasha, what's her name? Natasha. I'm seeing her face. Seeing her face. I think she lives in Canada now. Mm. We've had some good journalists. We've had some good Clem David, Roger Moore, gone on, transition this life. Both Clem David and Roger Moore were fantastic journalists. You know, those are the guys I grew up listening to talking on television. Social media wasn't a thing then. Talking on the radio, Clem David, Pancho Carew, those were the voices, right? Clem David uh, and Moore, Roger Moore, making sense of the world. You know, those were the people out there talking. Right? I won't pretend. I know the days. Some of y'all introduced to Mark late in life. I know the days when Mark Benchcup was on Channel 9. And soon as you come off the air, you got 500 police car waiting outside. And then by they like the press. It's good for you. I know those days. I used to live around the corner. When them boys come off Channel 9, ah, it's a whole van load of people, police, dashy wife in the vehicle back, the little child. Ronald Waddle was talking, ah, exercising his freedom of expression. He didn't cussing nobody. I didn't think he did slandering nobody. He did libeling nobody. But them boys don't like hear the truth. Right? They ain't like detractors, naysayers, critics. Mm-mm. They make an exception for one of them. They get you like a chihuahua. Right? But the rest, no, 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 no. They weren't having it with Ronald Waddle. God rest his soul, shot down, murdered. Still waiting for no is who. Still waiting. But if they don't investigate the own minister who was assassinated, is Waddle. But those were our forerunners. It's on their shoulders we stand on. On their shoulders. Basil Bradshaw grew up listening to Basil Bradshaw on radio. Right? Grew up listening to Basil Bradshaw on radio. Right? Those were the people making sense of the world for you. Right? Roving Deodat, listening to his elegance and eloquence. Right? Making sense of the world. Auntie Renty in her own way. Making sense of the world. I don't know what's radio now. Right? On the river, on the bank, helicopter. What you stop for? right? Those were the days you put on the radio, you can learn something, right? And God knows we needed to be transported to some different places, and those guys helped us. Those guys helped us, and we've had journalists in all style and fashion. We've had journalists, all calibers of journalists, and I salute them today. I salute them today. A lot of them I still look up to. Right, young Femi Harris, who was a colleague of mine at UG, does some fantastic writing for Starbuck News. Very qualified, extremely qualified journalist. Femi did, I think, history at UG. I met her in the communications program, and then we both did law together. Fantastic journalist. I'm not just saying that because I knew her like that, but I read her often. Fantastic journalist, right? Um, Raghuber, who's now with Newsroom, young woman, Vashani, fantastic journalist. There's a young man from Chronicle. He might leave them soon. Who does the business page? Trying to remember his name. Has a business focus, right? Has a business focus. Does exceptionally writing. You know, if you could get the journalism out of the politics and all the partisan politics, journalism could thrive if they can ask strong questions. I'm trying to remember the Caribbean scholar who says that if you are afraid to ask questions only because they're difficult questions, then you become dishonest, and a dishonest scholar is a menace to society. So our journalists gotta be bold and fearless. Gotta be bold and fearless. And I am thankful for the work that they do every day, because we benefit from the journalists every day. I'm telling you, on this program, we benefit from them, covering a variety of stories, right? From fashion to politics, social affairs, we benefit from them all the time. So I'm thankful for them. I'm thankful for the work that they're doing. And they got so many I haven't begun to mention. Right? And I'm putting broadcasters here with journalists. Right? And we can only get better. And I'm thankful for the program at the university, through Dr. Paloma Muhammad's hands, in which I came as a young communications student, still wet under the nose. The only difference now, I'm just older. Right? I'm thankful for all the journalists we have, each and every one of them. I think we're better as a country when there is true freedom of the press. Not make believe, not photo ops. When there is true freedom of the press, right? We can be a much better society. But see, when I'm buying and like where you're right, mm, can't eat your dinner. They quick say, hey, use our position, right? Because you're doing the work of a journalist. Well, if that's what they can go for call you, you can make up your mind. You want to be Mr. Congeniality and Miss Congeniality, or you want to be a journalist? You got to make up your mind, right? You want to be liked, or you want to be respected for your craft and for your talent. And you only got to be curious, even if you don't have the formal learning. Be curious. Look around and see how other people are doing it. How interviews are conducted, how they structure the question, the research they put into it. You only got to be curious. Right? You ought to watch Inventing Anna on Netflix. That's a true story. Look at the journalism that went into that story. Right? Before that story broke, look at the quality of journalism. Right? We got up a game. In 2022, we say congrats and we salute our journalists. We salute folks in the media, because you can play various roles in the media. You got the person doing the research and holding the mic, but then you might got a whole team at the back editing, and we salute all of the folks. All of the folks making it happen. Right? And we say, pick up the pace, up your game in 2022. Pick up the pace. and up your game in 2022. Folks, smash that emoji button for us. Smash it, smash it, smash it. And share the time live stream. Smash the emoji button, share the live stream, and we're going to see you guys at 8. Thanks for joining us. Right? Thanks for joining us. And we trust that you guys are going to come on board. Remember us this month. We got our obligations every month to meet to keep these programs going. Oh, it's such a labor of love on your behalf. It's such a labor of love on your behalf. We salute all the journalists who have gone before us and on whose shoulders we stand. And all of those who are working tirelessly, laboring in various vineyards at home and abroad. We salute you. Take a bow. We salute your work. We salute your art. We salute your craft. Right? And you're appreciated. We're going to see you guys back as you are as well. Our listeners and viewers, you are appreciated. You guys is family. And you all boy us to just be out here, and to keep going. Thanks for joining us. You know, we got available just for your convenience. We got Cash App, we got Zelle, PayPal, right? Zelle, PayPal, we got MMG, Cash App. We're available via MoneyGram, via Western Union. You need any guidance on how you can contribute to our programs in this way? 627-6963. 627-6963. That's our one number we operate from. 627-6963. We want to thank you for your time and your patience. And thanks for being such a great audience. Happy arrival day, guys. We're going to see you guys right back here today. Stay safe. Stay safe. Share the damn live stream. Smash the emoji button. Partner with us. Thanks for joining us, guys. Basil, Carl Miller, Glycis Mingo, Kim Walker, Selena Fraser, family. Good to see you guys. Stay safe. Right back in the ring at 8. Thanks for joining our international podcast. Below the belt. Who vex lose? Who vex lose? Thanks for joining us. Stay safe, guys. Stay safe.